Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Atascocita Bizcom. And I'm going to get, my name is Drew Gutierrez. I have the privilege of serving as the chair for the Atascocita Bizcom this year. Before we get started, I would like to invite Britt Thompson, Pastor of Missions and Membership at Northeast Houston Baptist Church, to lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance, please.
Thank you. As he said, we're from Northeast Houston Baptist Church, which is a mouthful. So we tried to shorten the name by using the initials only, NEHBC, which is also, oddly enough, still a mouthful. So thank you very much for inviting me to pray. I'm going to pray, and then we're going to do the pledges. Okay, so join me in prayer. Thank you, Father, so much for this gathering. We thank you. You are sovereign over all things. You are holy. You're so holy, Father. You're so amazing. You're so awesome. And I don't say that, Father. We don't say that because you need us to tell you that. But we say that, Father, to remind ourselves of your holiness. And we say that, Father, to remind ourselves that as you are holy, we are not. We are not holy, Father. We all fall short of your glory. And your word tells us that you are so holy that sin cannot get near you. No wrongdoing can get near you. But you love us so passionately and so desperately that you sent your Son to be the Savior of the world. And as Jesus hung on the cross, he took all of our sin and hung it on himself, so that when he died, he paid the penalty for all of our sin in our behalf. And so we're so thankful for this sacrifice, and that it is because of this sacrifice that we are able to be reconciled to you, that whoever confesses with their tongue that Jesus is Lord and believes in their heart that he is who he says he is, that we will be saved. And we thank you for this opportunity for salvation. We thank you also for this gathering. We thank you for the community members and leaders that are gathered here. Father, I pray that you watch over this meeting. Father, give us wisdom as we talk about things that affect our community. Give us wisdom as we process the challenges that we face. And Father, I pray in Jesus' name that you give the leaders here wisdom to speak and wisdom to lead. And Father, I pray that the people of this community would come together and follow good and right leadership, Father, that we may solve the problems that we face, Father, and that mostly that your name would be glorified in this meeting, Father, that the words of our mouth and the meditations of our heart would be pleasing in your sight. And Lord, we also ask that you bless the food that we're about to share. In Jesus' name, amen. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And for the Texas flag, honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor. Before we get started, I want to take a few minutes to acknowledge today's speakers. We're going to hear from Principal Falker, Dr. Roger Brown and Chief Cook, Sergeant Morales with Precinct 4, Kyle Sheldon, and Deborah Rose Miller. As always, we depend on our business sponsors to make programs like the Bizcom available to our members and the greater Lake Houston area. Atascocita Bizcom sponsors include presenting sponsor, Rosewood Funeral Home, Memorial Herman Northeast. Gold sponsor, Team Petrie by JLA Realty and Whataburger. Silver sponsor, Pro Custom Service and Infomark. And our food sponsor today is going to be Chewy's of Humboldt. Thank you all. Do we have a video for Rosewood? No video? Okay. We're going to skip right over that. So our first speaker of the day is Principal Falker from Atascocita to provide us an update with school for the upcoming school year.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Lake Houston Bizcom, for allowing me to present some of the fantastic things happening at AHS as we anticipate receiving about 3,800 students for the 22-23 school year. This year, we successfully closed the COVID learning gap from all of our students that were out of school for those months of March, April, and May. This year, we partnered with our University of On-Ramps through University of Texas. That allows students to get college credit. This year, 78% of our students in our On-Ramps classes were eligible for college credit, 65% for college algebra, 57% for college pre-calculus, 78% as compared to 60% of language AP testers, and 94% of U.S. history compared to 50% U.S. history AP testers. All in all, that means that 334 of our students received college credit and saved approximately $750,000 through the University of Texas and their On-Ramps program. So if you are a parent and you have a student coming through Humble ISD, please get them enrolled in UT On-Ramps. This year, we'll pilot a program called the Texas College Bridge. That program is designed for juniors and seniors that are having difficulty passing their TSI test. TSI is designed for college entrance exams so that you don't have to sit in those remedial classes. And so what that program entails is help from teachers so that we can see what students, the areas that they mastered in, and what students they need help in. Once they successfully complete that program, they will then receive TSI credit that is available for them to use across through any 50 college or institution of higher learning in the state of Texas. So that also saves parents money from having to pay for those remedial classes or those classes that those students don't get credit for, but they have to take tuition for as well. The implementation of personalized counseling through Humble ISD was a huge success this year. Personalized counseling allows us to build relationships with students, track their academic progress, develop interpersonal and coping skills, and actively look for those students that have those mental health challenges and meeting with those counselors. For the fall semester for AHS, 99% of our students met with the counselor. For the spring semester, 98.8% of those students met with a counselor. We found the benefits extremely impactful, being able to recognize and assist those students with those mental health issues that we may have missed in previous years. And so just the initiative of Humble ISD and having the forethought and the vision of creating a personalized counseling model that each student in elementary will see their counselor at least once, and for secondary, middle school and high school students will see a counselor at least once a semester, has been a tremendous impact on us. And finally, I just want to thank Dr. Fagan and Chief Cook for their personal commitment to hardening our campus, our buildings, and just the planning and the training involved with keeping our schools safe and secure. The incident in Uvalde has really shaken a lot of people to the core, but I am thankful to work in a district that has been proactive in hardening our campuses, hardening our facilities, and having things in place so that we can try to keep our students as safe as possible. We're always constantly working and monitoring and upgrading our systems and our supports throughout our district just to make sure our kids have a safe place to go. And so with Dr. Fagan's leadership and Chief Cook, I believe Humble ISD is probably one of the safest school districts, if not the safest school district in the state of Texas. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm going to take 2 minutes of personal privilege, and I'm going to recognize Ms. Ruby Kirchhofer is joining us in the building, and Principal Chief Thies. Thank you, guys. Next up, this is kind of a very special duo here. We're going to hear from Chief Cook and Dr. Roger Brown with Humble ISD to give us some updates. Which one's going to come first? We'll go with Dr. Brown since you seem to be more boring. Come on up.
Is that mine? Yes, sir. All right. Chief, I'll go first. Is that okay? You got it. We'll lead right into safety then. So thank you all so much for allowing us to be here today. As Will said, there's been a lot of discussion about school safety. Has been for years, but certainly anytime you have an incident that occurs like happened in Uvalde at the end of the school year, it just ramps up that discussion, and that's been going on heavily all summer, and Chief will talk to you a little bit about that. What I want to talk to you about, and what I'm excited about, is the support that you provide us as a community. So I want to show you some of the 2018 bond projects that are just coming to completion, and then we'll talk about the 2022 bond that you all supported overwhelmingly, and that's $775 million. And I know that's kind of a scary number. People are like, man, 775? 575 wasn't enough? No, we need 200 million more. And so you supported that, and we appreciate that. So some of the projects that we have coming up that will open this fall: Autumn Ridge, which is located on Woodland Hills. So it's really pretty close to Westlake Middle School, if you know where that is. You can go to Woodland Hills and just go straight south. I mean, you could walk between them. And the reason for that is because we just have, this is our high area of growth right here off of Westlake Houston. This is where we're really experiencing it. You know, we grew by 2,000 students last year, really about 2,500, and a lot of that is right in here. And so you feel it if you drive Westlake Houston, you know that. And so Autumn Ridge will be our 10th middle school. It will open in the fall. And then we're getting into some renovations, and we'll show you that on the 2022 bond, but this is from the 2018 bond. So this is the new Kingwood Middle School, located on the same property as the current Kingwood Middle School. We're just flip-flopping the athletic fields in the school and parking lots and that kind of thing. So we were able to build it right there on the same piece of property, but a whole new design. And then North Belt Elementary, you know, when we experienced COVID with all of its tragedies, one of the things that we did experience in that is when we put projects out for bid, they were coming in well under what we had budgeted. That's changed now. Construction has caught back up with the world, but we were able through our savings to build North Belt Elementary. And so if you know where the current North Belt is, it's located off of the Beltway. We moved it a little bit north at Humble Road and Old Bender, right in there. It's on the same attendance zone area, but it's going to be a brand new facility, and that will open, hopefully, we'll be finished with that in the spring of 23. And so we'll see about how we move those students in at that time. If you go to Woodland Hills, this is something that the entire district's going to experience. We're really investing in our playgrounds. One of the things, and I talked about this before, getting rid of the wood chips and doing the pour and play. It's that rubber material so that all students can have access to the playgrounds. Well, we have one going now. So Woodland Hills has started, and this is what it looks like, and they're all going to have their own themes. And so if you want to take your children or your grandchildren to different schools for different themes, you'll be able to experience that. So we're really excited about this, and we're excited for our community because you do get to use these after hours and on the weekends. So here's some of the projects from 2022. We're going to be doing some new building. Middle School 11 I'll talk about here in just a minute. We're going to be doing some replacements of some of our older facilities. We're going to be expanding some of our campuses. We'll talk about Summer Creek here in just a minute. We're going to do the outdoor, which we talked about, playgrounds, but the middle schools and the high schools will get equipment that meets their needs, more of the fitness. So when you're done playing, if you really want to go work out, you can do that at our middle school. You'll have access to those facilities, and then our high school students will have access. And then always fine arts, we address fine arts. We're going to do some upgrades to their facilities, and that'll get underway here soon. And so we're excited about the 2022 bond. It's a 7-year bond, so you'll see these projects come out over the next 7 years. We didn't get all $775 million right away. That's not the way it works. We could, maybe, but it would really increase your taxes, and we don't know that you'd be happy about that. So we try to spread that out over 7 years so we don't increase taxes. Middle School 11 is part of the 2022 bond. It will be located somewhere off of West Lake Houston in the southern region here, south of Atascocita High. And again, it's just due to the growth we're experiencing. We're going to open Autumn Ridge, as I mentioned, this fall, and it'll be at capacity. That's crazy, and then it'll just keep growing until we can get Middle School 11 built. Summer Creek, we think we can avoid right now another high school because they're so expensive. So we think by adding a 40 classroom addition, a new dining area to Summer Creek High School, that we can manage the growth for our high schools. And so that's what we're doing. This will be a 9th grade center, it looks like, that we're gonna try to have our 9th graders kind of transition and hang out in this area. Not that they won't get to see the other parts of the building, they will because of classes and that kind of thing, but really trying to help them transition into high school. And then Humble High School, if you've been around Humble High School, you've seen there's just a lot of work going on at Humble High School. It's just time to upgrade that facility, and it'll be a brand new facility when we get through all of these phases with classrooms and labs, and it's going to be amazing. And so the community supported that. We're excited. Again, your tax rate, we are not going to increase your tax rate. In fact, you're going to see your tax rate go down. So we're excited about that. Even with the $775 million bond, even with the $575 million bond we're just closing out, your tax rate will actually go down. And that's a good thing, because we say when we do these bonds, we're not going to increase your taxes. We don't really say we're going to decrease them, because we don't want to do that, but it's going to happen. So that's pretty exciting. So what happens with the bond? There's a lot that goes into the bond. So right now we're in the process of selling our first round of the bonds this summer. So we can get some of that money, usually between $100 to $200 million, just depending on what we can do to not increase taxes. And so that will be our first round. We start working with our maintenance, our construction department. We start designing schools or projects that we think are priority. And then you get over into the design with architects. Permitting and construction duration are always challenges. And I am not knocking any of the City of Houston or the counties. I mean, they have their processes and they want to make sure that everything's done according to code, and we want to do that. And so it's just a lot of give and take when you do that. So it's time consuming. And so that always takes a lot of time in the beginning. And then construction, you know, you get supply chain issues right now. I mean, it's just, I always just say if they tell me the project's going to be done August 1st, I'm counting on September 1st. And then I'm not concerned. And I just plan on that. And if it comes in early, that's even better. And so it's just the way the construction world works. We have, from the time we start pre-planning a project until the end, it can take between 24 and 48 months. It will take about 15 to 16 months to build an elementary school. It'll take about 24 months to build a middle school, and it takes about 3 years to build a high school, from the time you start the planning until you can actually walk in and hold classes. This is something that I am so excited about this. We're going to pilot in transportation for our youngest students what's called the Smart Tag program. So they will have like an ID, the little ones, and they'll get on the bus and they'll have a scanner there, and the bus driver will help them and be trained in this, and they'll scan. As a parent, you can see, little Roger just got on the bus. Bus goes around, I scan off. You're able to see. Roger got off. I need to pick Roger up. You'll be able to monitor that travel. And then the driver will be able to see that as well. Because when I scan on, if it's not working, Roger, I don't think you're on this bus. Now remember, we're talking about our little ones. So we need to work with that. Or if the little one tries to get off at the wrong stop, driver will be alerted, not your stop, Roger. Isn't that great? Because one of the things we're going to have this year is our pre-K students will be with us all day. They've been going till about 1 o'clock, 1:30. They're going to be with us all day. So we've been able to monitor them when we take them home because they're the only ones on the bus. Now they'll be on the bus with other people. So I am really excited about this. Just talked to JP, our Director of Transportation, this morning. I said, I'm going to speak at Bizcom. Are we good? He said, we're good. You can tell him. Okay. The board was through our budget process that we started in the spring. School board approves a 4% average raise for all staff in the district. Our finances are managed well by our board, our superintendent, and our CFO, Billy Beatty. And so that's pretty impressive to have a 4% raise. Plus, if you look down at the bottom, our starting teacher salary will be $62,100. That makes us very competitive in the Houston market. Besides just being humble, I mean, we just are who we are. People want to be here. And so, but $62,100, very, very marketable for teachers. And you all know, we can have buildings, we can have playgrounds, we can have all of that, but what it really comes down to is that individual teacher in the classroom. So we want to recruit the best, and we feel like we do that. Chief will talk a little bit about this, I'm sure, but one of the things when you talk about safety, you know, we have, and Dr. Fagan is really engaged in safety, one of the things that she implemented was the iHelp. And so if you have students in school, if you have children in school, you know that that's a phone they can call anonymously, or you can as a parent, and report an incident, something we need to look into, and you can be anonymous. And so that's a true safety feature. But one of the things we've done is we've really taken the load off of our counselors. When I was a building principal, my counselor would tell me, Roger, I can't see kids during the day because you've got me in all these meetings, I'm doing scheduling, I don't get to see kids. Well, we've taken that from them and assigned it to other people and hired other people to do that so they can do one-on-one personalized counseling. Get to know your kids that are assigned to you. Have that one-on-one meeting with them. If you can build that relationship, kids will tell you things. That's the most important safety feature we have, really, is build that relationship and they'll talk. And we need to know what they need, and we need to help them plan their future. And so that is something that we've done. We've added 3 wellness counselors. Homeless has added a counselor. We do have homeless students in our district. And then the police will talk about their mental health officer. But we do things to build those relationships with kids because that's how you really get to know. And so we want to make sure that we have that built in, and you all support that. And so I just can't tell you how important that is for a student to have that access to their counselor and to adults that they have relationships with. We listen to our students. You know, we have a great career tech program. And so what do you want in career tech? One of the things is they want a barber academy. The Humboldt High School principal had a report of there were kids cutting hair in the restroom. So, and they were. And so we wanted to find out, well, are kids interested in that? Is that something you would like? And it is. So we're adding this barber academy to our CTE program. So we do those kinds of things. We have, you know, right now the health science field is really, really booming. That's part of our CTE. We're going to be adding a vet lab because students are interested in that. And so our career tech really does provide those opportunities for students. And we were just notified we're the #1 best place to teach in the Houston area by Nietzsche. This is an organization that ranks schools all over the United States, all over the United States. And we were just notified that according to their rankings, their study of the Houston area and the school districts, that Humboldt ISD is the #1 place to teach. It's the #1 place to live right here, isn't it? That's why they're knocking down trees and building homes, because people want to be here. And so we see that, and you support that. And it's because of you all coming to meetings like this and supporting the community that allows us to have the best place to teach. Okay, Chief. I think it's yours. No, not at all. This is Chief Cook, head of our police department, and he does an amazing job. You're president of the school.
Texas School District Police Chiefs Association.
There you go, in the state. So right there, we've got the head guy and the leader of that organization, and just so fortunate to have our own police department, because what they do is they build relationships with those kids. When you're in that hallway with those kids every day, you can build those relationships, and that's just so critical. So I will give this over to you now, Chief.
Thank you, sir. I'm gonna give it a little cooker, sir. Unless you would help me out. Good morning, everyone. My name is Solomon Cook. I am Chief of Police for the Humble Independent School District. I have been in law enforcement for 46 years. It's been my great pleasure to serve as the Chief Administrator for Humble ISD for 26 years. Currently, I am the Senior Chief in the Houston area. I've been a Chief of Police. And can everyone hear me? I apologize, okay. I have been the longest sitting chief in the Harris County area for years. That means either I'm old or I'm fortunate, lucky, whatever, but I think I'm the longest sitting chief in the Houston area. Most of my career has been with Humble ISD, and I've been very fortunate to be here because we have such great people to work with. Dr. Brown, who's been a great resource, Jamie Mount in our public information, and my assistant chief, Erica Jornay, and also Ken Tice, Chief of Police, City of Humble, right back there. How many of you have kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, sister, brothers in our school districts? Okay, you have a vested interest, right? Your kids, your nephews, nieces, whatever, are in the right place, the right thing. Their safety is our #1 concern. I have served as the president of the School District's Chief of Police Association for, this is my first year as president. I've served as vice president, and I deal with school districts all across the state. And folks, Humble ISD is #1. I tell my counterparts that, they frown. But it's true. We are the best district to live in, to work at, and our kids are the best. I brag on that all the time. We are very fortunate that we've always had trustees that believe that safety is first. We've always had superintendents that believe safety is first. That makes my job so much easier. We just had our conference this past summer in San Antonio. And there are 330 school district police departments in the state of Texas. Out of 330, we only had 80 of them come to the conference. With the agenda that we had, with speakers from the FBI, speakers from Texas Rangers, people there about threat assessment, mental health, we should have had a packed house. Unfortunately, a lot of districts will not invest in their people's training. They will not invest in their district. They have the vision that nothing can happen. Everything is perfect. Well, I feel we're about as close to perfect as possible, but hey, we're gonna prepare for the worst and pray that everything is good with us. We have existed since 1994. Our district has grown. Our department has grown to meet the needs of our school district. Even in times when it was not popular to put money in police cars, guns, training, Humble ISD chose to be prepared and work toward the future. We started off with several security guards, a couple of police officers, and we grew. And we had to grow to meet the needs of the district. Our district is very unique for the fact that We want it to be number one. And it's all about the kids. That's why we exist. It's all about the kids. No matter what happens in our day, everybody goes home, we're good. I don't care how many tickets they write. I don't care how many people they put in jail. I want everybody to go home. I want it to be a good day. Unfortunately, kids make poor choices. We're not there all the time to put them in jail. We're there to work with them and support them. There's community engagement. We believe in working with our colleagues, our sponsors in the district that work with us and support us. That's very important because we all have an interest in this. It's not just about one certain group. The elephant in the room. You cannot hide from it. No matter where you go in our country, the potential threat is there. It's there. And unfortunately, it's going to happen again. No matter how good you think your system is, how well trained your people are, ladies and gentlemen, the threat is always there. We're very fortunate that we've always been realistic here. We've supported our campuses, putting vegetables in to help if there is an active attack, to slow them down so our police officers can arrive there and do what they need to do to neutralize the situation. Our officers are trained to respond. One of my colleagues from years ago approached his school board, and he was asking for AR-15s, he was asking for Glock 19s, and they say, why do you need that? And he said, in order to be ready, we must get ready. Humble ISD adopted that, and that's what we have been doing, ladies and gentlemen. We have been getting ready. Were they ready? No, they were not. Were they ready? Yes. Santa Fe ISD, small department, small school district, as they were ready that day, and they met force with force. They did what they had to do. Unfortunately, there was a great loss of life there. One of the officers was even wounded, but they stepped up. They were not prepared. If you Google Chief Cook, you'll see several interviews that I've done, and they said Chief Cook slams Uvalde IC chief. No, I didn't slam him. I only said what should have occurred, okay? There is no excuse. There is no reason for any law enforcement agency in the state of Texas not to properly handle an active attack situation. The state of Texas has invested in training. They have a program. It's there. It's mandated now that all school district law enforcement officers go through the TCO course 2195 that deals with active attack. I mean, it's a must. Even the people in Uvalde had to go through that. They had to go through that training, folks. Last month, the month of June, I felt like a traveling salesman. I was out of the district most of the month. I had to go to Austin and testify before the Senate and the House. And one of the representatives in the House kept asking me, how do you know your people are going to go in? How do you know they're going to do the right thing? Sir, they will. They've been trained to do it. They've been trained to do that. They will do it. What I was not able to tell him, because I didn't want to sound too bold with it, that they're going to go in because I'm going in with them. If I get there and the attack is still going on, we are going in with them. In the state of Texas, you have 2,726 law enforcement agencies. As I said earlier, 330 are school districts. Now, we have police academies who are training providers. We have 204 training providers. Those are people that are sanctioned by the state to teach and train officers with appropriate credits that they can receive. There are only 8 school district police departments that have the training provider license, and Humble ISD is one of them. Priority of life, this is what we talk about. This is part of our policy. This is part of the training. And if you look at the first part right there, excuse me, at the bottom, I mean, a first responder unwilling to place their lives of the innocent above their own safety should be considered, they should be considered another career. We tell them people in a heartbeat when we're interviewing them, if you don't want to do this, you need to go somewhere else. You got to go in. Alert. That is the platform that we're all trained to respond to active attacks. It doesn't matter if you're DPS, Precinct 4 Constable, City of Humble, City of Houston, we all are trained on this. We all have the same implant in our brain of how to go in and deal with an active attack. Threat assessments, that's something that the schools do now. That's something to where we look at these situations and we evaluate them. I'm talking fast and running out of time, excuse me. We make sure that we look at things. iHelp. When we get tips from iHelp, we may get a call at 8 o'clock at night that, hey, Johnny has a gun, he's bringing it to school tomorrow. We'll go out to that resident where that young man lives. We'll knock at the door, we talk to the parents. Hey, we want to search little Johnny's room. We got a report he has a gun. Don't worry about the little bag of weed in his room. You know, we're not gonna follow him for that, but we want to make sure he doesn't have a gun, okay? Hey, stuff happens, okay?
But it's not saying weed's okay.
Yeah, we'll take the weed, okay, but we can't file charges on him. But what we'll do also, wherever that residence is, we will notify the law enforcement agency that has jurisdiction there that, hey, you have a potential threat here, okay? You know, we took the gun with us for the night, you gotta turn it back to the parents, but let you know, you have a child that has access to a weapon. And folks, hey, you always gotta be ready for anything, okay? If you think that it's not gonna flood again here, and we're in a very unique position because we have more things to be concerned with than just the active shooting. We gotta be ready because of where we're located at. We have train tracks that run all through our district. God forbid one of those trains should derail in a chemical spill. We have major freeways, same thing. They carry hazmat material every day. And don't forget about the airplanes that fly over. I mean, we live with the threat every day that anything can happen. The world's watching. We don't want the world to watch us the way that they're watching Uvalde right now. And I pray for those people every night because that should never happen. Those babies are gone too soon, too early. Way too early. And as chief of police, I swear that if that happens in our district, we're gonna handle it. We're gonna handle it. I'm going in myself, okay? I mean, that's a bold statement to make, but the people that know me, they know I'm telling what I feel and what I'm gonna do. I wanna thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today. Please support your district, and God bless y'all.
Second round of applause. Atascocita and Humble ISD is the best place to live, work, and play. Another staple of the Atascocita area is the Harris County Constable Precinct 4, Mark Herman's office, and I have Sergeant Morales here to give us an update on what's going on in the area.
I don't need the mic. I speak loud enough, right? All right, good.
Now, I usually don't tell people with a gun what to do, but I'm gonna leave you alone.
Good morning. Another round of applause for Chief Cook. Great leader, great chief. I'm Jonathan Morales. I'm a patrol sergeant for Atascocita. I've been with the department for 7 years, and prior to that, I have 4 years with jail, Harris County Jail. Here, I'm real big on community policing, spending time with our citizens, you know, waving down and seeing if we can get intel on things that they see around the neighborhood, any suspicious activity. I advise all my people to, please, if you see something, to speak out. Okay, if you see something suspicious, a suspicious person walking around the neighborhood that you haven't seen in a while or you haven't seen frequently, to please give us a call so we can go and investigate that situation. I live in Atascocita, so I'm blessed and fortunate to live here where crime rate is very low compared to other communities around here. So my kids attend these schools, so I feel safe. Another thing that we have a C4 app that y'all can download. It's called C4 Now. It keeps y'all in place and it keeps y'all alert of what's happening in the community. It's a very good app. So if we have an accident here on 1960 in Westlake, and it's a major accident, there's traffic, we'll alert that, and then y'all get that alert. If there's a vehicle in pursuit or there's a suspect in pursuit, we'll alert y'all on that so we can keep y'all in the mix of what's going on here in the community. Things that y'all can help us or prevent crime is locking doors. I have my deputies, while we're in here, I have my deputies drive around and do report cards on your vehicles, check if they're locked, and to check if there's valuables that are visible. I think a few people fail. I'm not going to say no names, Blake. And it's a perfect example. He left his truck open. I think this happens. We get out of work, kids are inside, we forget to lock the door. We also forget our gun in the console. Forget our wallet, forget our iPad, and then when you come back out in the morning, you know, it's locking garages. Make sure, you know, at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, we're locking garages and things like that. Also, it's an honor and a privilege to work with this department. I've been here 7 years, and I plan on going longer than that. We have vacation watches. If any of y'all go on vacation, you can go on our website and you can put your address and the time that you're leaving, the time you're coming back, and within that time frame, we'll have a deputy go out there daily and just do checks on the residents. So that's another thing. So once you submit that, it hits the captain's office, and then the captain alert us, and we'll assign deputies to it. Other than that, this is an amazing community to live in, like I said before, and I can't beat Chief Cook's presentation. I try to sit back there and think about it, but yeah, that's it, guys. Any questions, comments, concerns?
How do you guys partner with? How do you guys work together?
We work together. I mean, there's scenes where me and Chief Cook and ran into each other. If anything that we need assistance on, Chief Cook is there. The Uncle PD as well. They're there to assist us, and vice versa. We help each other out. If they got any needs or we have any needs that we can give them, we work great together. Correct, Chief?
If I may add, we have an excellent relationship. A couple of years ago, we had our first incident on a school campus, this campus, one young man went bad, young man was shot. Together with Precinct 4, Harris County Sheriff's Department, we worked collectively together. We had that young man in jail by the next day. So there's no issue with law enforcement in this part of the county. We work great together. We depend on them, they depend on us, okay? And if there was an active attack near our facilities, I know Precinct 4 is coming, on the team is coming. You know, it's not about who's in charge, okay? We're gonna stop the shooting, stop the bleeding, okay? That's what we're all training, that's our focus. It don't matter if it's chief badge or deputy or an officer. Folks, we're coming to take care of business, okay?
We'll close on that.
Thank you, Sergeant Morales. Next up, we're going to have Kyle Sheldon. Kyle serves as the interim president and CEO for Partnership Lake Houston to give us an update. You need a mic?
I don't know if I need it, but in case it's pumping through a DNA system, then at least they'll be able to hear me better. But we really appreciate you guys coming out, first of all, and thank you to those who have spoken already, and obviously to our sponsors. But we are really excited. Obviously, the continual theme is the community here that we live in, that we get the opportunity to serve in all sorts of different aspects and avenues, is one of the best. I've lived several places, but spent most of my life in the Kingwood, Humble, Atascocita area, and it's where we've chosen to raise our children, so we're excited to be here. As far as the partnership and where we're going, it's a really exciting time. First of all, if you didn't know, Partnership Lake Houston was originally the Humboldt Chamber of Commerce. And even if you did know that, I don't know if you'll know this, but next year is our 100th anniversary. So we'll be trying to do that justice as we push into 2023 and beyond with community engagement, new types of materials, getting a fresh spin on a whole lot of things. So if you haven't had the opportunity and we haven't met face to face and you don't have my contact information, please let me know, because I want to hear from you guys, because just like everybody else has said, is we're very big on trying to provide what it is you guys are looking for. The partnership with the Chamber and the Office of Economic Development, we're really trying to focus back on small businesses, but medium businesses, large businesses. Obviously, all of it matters to our community, but we want to make sure that everybody has a voice. And so if you guys have feedback for us, please don't hesitate to come tell us, good, bad, or indifferent. We can only learn from our mistakes if we know about them. Majority of my staff is new, with the exception of Shannon, my one tenured employee left. So we have good history, but we're really excited about what the future holds. I just had the opportunity to go to Georgia last week and was at the University of Georgia for the Institution of Organizational Management, which is put on by the U.S. Chamber. So I've come back with lots of information, and the one thing that they continued to tell us while we were there is, as you go back into your communities, make sure that you eat the elephant one bite at a time. And so while we're trying to make improvements and get better about things, we're also trying to not reinvent the wheel or flip things upside down until you guys tell me that's what we need. So we're really excited about where we sit and the opportunity that we have to serve you guys as a community. And with that, I'm gonna turn it back to Drew, because we have Deborah coming to talk about some cool stuff.
Thank you, Kyle. I know I can personally say, as a Partnership Lake Houston board member, I'm looking forward to your leadership. Next up, Ms. Deborah Rose Miller with Party on the Green. Kind of.
So you never know when you're last if I'm going to have to do this in 5 seconds or if I have 5 whole minutes like I'm supposed to. So it's exciting. I have more than 5 minutes, maybe. Shannon won't let me go over. So get out your phones. I know some of you have already been on your phones. Shocker shocks, I watched you. But get out your phones and mark on your calendar October the 28th at 6:30 for a Party on the Green. We're going to be at the 100 Oaks Event Center in Crosby, Texas. And don't go, oh no, Crosby. It's less than 20 minutes from where we are right now. That's faster than we can get to Kingwood, guys, okay? Just saying. So mark that on your calendar, October the 28th, 6:30, and it is going to be, our goal as your Party on the Green committee is this is going to be the party that people are going to be talking about for weeks after. So you want to be there. And let's show a quick video on this place, because if you have not been there, it is beautiful. Can y'all see that in the back? Okay. So you can kind of get an idea that it maybe doesn't look like the inside of the Civic Center or some of the other places we've been here. We're blessed around here having great facilities, but this is taking it to a whole different notch. So I will say, as a realtor, I know that sometimes I take you to a new house and you saw it on HAR and you looked at the pictures and it doesn't look anything like the pictures. Been there? Or we'll take you to a house and the pictures didn't do it justice. I will just tell you that as good as that video was, the pictures did not do it justice. I mean, even Trey, when he saw the place, was wowed by how great it was, and Trey doesn't get wowed very easy. So I'm just letting you know, this place is amazing. It's going to be cocktail attire because we want to look as fancy as the place is and have a good time. This is our big fundraiser, so we're going to be big, bad, and bold about that, guys. So this is going to be a fundraiser. We're going to have silent auctions. We're going to have gift card trees. There's no telling what we're going to have to get into your pocketbooks, but you're going to have a good time and be wanting to spend the money. So it is going to be great. We're going to have games, plenty of fellowship, so mark that on your calendar. Tickets for partnership members will be $100. I will tell you our goal is to have over 400 there, and we're already halfway through that. So don't kind of sit around on your tickets, make sure that you have those, and also it's going to be open this year to non-members, which would be a great way to reach out into the community for your business associates, our business associates, to expand that and let them know who we are and what we are and have a great time. And Dan Huberty is going to be our celebrity auctioneer, so there's going to be plenty of entertainment around there. So he'll be great. So mark your calendars. Did I cover everything I was supposed to, Carl? All right, mark that date. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Deborah. We have a few minutes for some public announcements, and I'd like to bring up Ms. Shauna Lopez to give us an update on a community event that she's got coming up.
So good afternoon. You might have received a flyer for the Trace Memorial Scholarship Fund. Trace was actually a graduate of Atascocita in 2021. And we lost him in February of this year. So my two daughters go to AHS, one as a junior and one as a sophomore. And we have started a Trace O'Keefe Scholarship Foundation that the funds raised go back to AHS graduating seniors. So last year, for graduating class of 2022, we donated $2,000 to $1,000 to each of the students. So a month from today, we are having the first inaugural golf tournament. And so we are still in need of players, sponsors, whole sponsors, and would just like to reach out into the community. We live here. We visit many of your businesses. I'm a part of the community. I work for Waste Management. So I've attended many of these Bizcoms before, and I've never really came back and asked for help, but we are really wanting to do something to leave a legacy that we can continue on and something that our daughters can look forward to recognize their brother. So I appreciate your support. Thank you. If you have any questions, my email, phone number is on the form as well. Thank you so much.
Any additional public announcements? Ken?
Thank you very much. I'm Ken Washington. I'm a lieutenant in Montgomery County Precinct 3's office, but that's not why I'm here. I appreciate a lot of my colleagues' outcome speaking. That's very important, being engaged with the community. Why I'm speaking to you today, because I'm a resident of Waters Edge, and I've been currently involved in this fight against the Harris County Housing Authority about this project, the View at Lake Houston. I know a lot of you have heard about it because you've seen it on social media, you replied to me. This project they're considering building is probably going to affect 14 neighborhoods. We're talking about 30 to 40,000 residents. The main push and the most significant push is that 90-acre tract of land that aligns Lakeshore subdivision, the Humble ISD's been fighting to try to purchase that land because there's no property in this area they can purchase to build any other schools right now. So they're fighting for every square inch. I know a lot of you voted for the bond to make sure to increase the funds for them to be able to continue to develop here in the area. But for whatever reason, there are members on the Harris County Housing Authority as well as the Harris County Commissioners Court who are not supportive. Commissioner Ramsey, who I've met with several times, as well as Commissioner Cagle, are extremely in support of Humble ISD purchasing this 90-acre tract of land to develop in one capacity or another, because we know all the side effects. A lot of the side effects that the community has been asking me about, emailing me about, making phone calls about is, besides the school being built, how come we don't want low-rent housing built over here? Well, I'll tell you why. I've been to 3 different neighborhoods. I also grew up in Southwest Houston and Alief, Texas. I've seen what's happened to my neighborhood when the community has not been engaged and the city's come out there and built property that was not needed and has basically decimated my community. I've also gone over to Fifth Ward where I go to church. I've been going to church for 40 years and seen where the Housing Authority has supposed to be engaged with building property over there. And when I asked those people in Third Ward, Fifth Ward, and Fourth Ward why the Housing Authority In this case, a lot of times it's the Houston Housing Authority, but also Harris County Housing Authority is not investing in your community. They can't answer. They don't know. They're asking the same question we're asking out here on why the Housing Authority is trying to build out here along Westlake Houston. Oh, by the way, along the Beltway, and if you pay attention to the areas, you'll see them, okay? Because the whole point of the Housing Authority is to support the community where there's a need, and our need has everything to do with our community. And as you've already heard by several speakers here, that we're invested in trying to do things that benefit our neighborhood, namely schools, but also businesses, whether it's real estate, whether it's the local businesses, whether the colleges that are being built here, San Jacinto Community College, or so on. We're invested in trying to make sure we have a strong and viable community, okay? I was in Austin when they started building the Domain. Well, you won't see any low-rent housing there. You know why? Because they're invested in the community to make sure that they have a very sound, strong infrastructure for the community to invest in, whether they're shopping or going to school or whatever. And the people who need the support most aren't getting it from the Housing Authority. So I'm gonna continue to stay engaged with this fight. Even though I live here, I'm not leaving here. I can afford to run and move to Montgomery County or where I work. But I'm invested in this community to make sure I stay engaged with everyone to continue to fight against the things we don't need and fight for the things we absolutely do need. And what we need are each and every one of you who are here today, as well as the ones who were at the meeting a couple of months ago, invested in this community to make sure that your businesses are viable, make sure that we have strong hospitals, to make sure that we provide the support that the people actually need, because if that property is built, you can't tax the low-rent housing property. Those taxpayers are responsible for paying for that, okay? We have to pay for that. And that goes with law enforcement services, which they haven't addressed. It also goes with water services, okay? So I appreciate your time. On the Stop the View at Lake Houston, we do have a website. I'll have a formal project here, and I know that Drew has more information on that. I've already spoke to your local MUDs. And if you need to reach out to me, I can get that information to you, okay? Ken Washington from Water's Edge. Thank you.
Thank you. That wraps it up today. Any additional public announcements? No. Okay. Once again, I want to thank all of our sponsors. Our presenting sponsor is Rosewood Funeral Home and Memorial Herman Northeast. Our gold sponsors, Team Petrie with JLA Realty and Whataburger. Silver sponsor, Pro Custom Service and Infomark. I want to give a special thank you to DNA Studios for all their hard work to make sure our Bizcoms are always being recorded and available to view online a little bit later. Before we conclude, the partnership has a few upcoming events. July 19th, we have Leadership Awards Luncheon at the Clubs of Kingwood. July 26th, Commerce, Conversations, and Coffee. November 3rd would be our next Atascocita Bizcom, and with that, right on time. Thank you all, and have a great summer.